Hey loves, and welcome back to Lynn's Place, a space for honest conversation, quiet becoming, and the kind of faith that meets you where you really are. Today we're talking about marriage. Not the movie version, not the highlight reels or perfectly timed love stories, but real life marriage. The kind that holds a mirror up to you, the kind that doesn't just reflect love, but also your fears, your expectations, and parts of you that are still healing. Marriage has a way of revealing what we hope someone else would fix and inviting us to grow instead. This episode isn't about fairy tales. It's about truth. About what marriage can teach us when we're brave enough to stay present inside of it. Okay, I'll be honest with you. When I got married, I didn't realize how much I was bringing into it. I thought marriage would quiet the loneliness that I had lived with for so long. I believed that loving someone and being loved back would finally make me feel whole. But marriage didn't do that. It didn't erase my loneliness. It actually just changed the way that it showed up. There were moments when I would love my husband deeply and still felt unseen. Moments when I realized I had been expecting my husband to meet needs I had never fully learned how to name, let alone heal. Marriage didn't fix me. It revealed me. It showed me how uncomfortable silence could be. Right after our honeymoon, my husband went back to work. Not just one job, but two. Because mind you, I'm retired now. So he made the sacrifice to get another job. So from 8 a.m. in the morning to maybe 10 o'clock at night, I'm home alone. And in the beginning, I'm sitting at home alone, just me and my dog, trying to figure out my new role as a stay-at-home wife. And the silence was deafening. It showed me that I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't realize how often I would avoid hard conversations because I didn't want to feel vulnerable. It felt too risky for me. What I began to understand is this. Marriage doesn't complete you, it confronts you. It invites you to learn how to communicate rather than assume, how to stay instead of shutting down, and how to sit with the discomfort rather than run from it. And slowly I realized marriage wasn't meant to save me. It began to shape me. To teach me how to grow with someone and not disappear into them. See, we're going on 8 months into this marriage life. And while it's great, I know it's only going to get better from here. But in the midst of all of that, these past 8 months of me being at home, actually longer than that, but I have had days where they were silent battles that nobody could see or know about because I didn't let people in. There would be days that I would just cry all day long because I didn't know exactly what to do. I didn't know if I was being a good wife. I didn't know if I was being a good friend or daughter or a sister because I wasn't doing the things that I normally do. And I felt bad. I felt horrible. Some days my husband would call on his break and I would act like everything was fine. I didn't tell him what was going on because I couldn't actually put it into words. And then some days he would catch me in the middle of me crying and I would tell him what I was feeling in that moment. And as you know, any amazing husband would do, he spoke life into me. He would tell me that I was doing a great job and I was being a good wife and a good friend and a good sister and a good daughter and that I didn't need to worry about anything. And for that, I am greatly appreciative and I love him to the moon and back for that. But in the middle of all of this, I had to look at my faith too. Yet again, it was inviting God into my doing, but not into my being. I trusted him with my marriage, my intentions, my effort, but I didn't trust him with my loneliness, my fear of being unmet, or the quiet parts of me that still felt unsure. I wanted God to bless our union, but I struggled to let him sit with me in the uncomfortable moments inside of it. What marriage began to teach me was that love, real love, requires presence, and so does faith. Not that faith fixes everything. It doesn't soothe out every hard edge, but it does stay. I started to understand that God wasn't asking me to be more put together. He was inviting me to be more honest, to bring my unmet expectations, my need for reassurance, and my growing pains, not just to my husband, but to him. Marriage didn't become easier overnight, but it became deeper. Because I stopped asking it to save me and started letting it become a place where God could meet me where I was. Now let's talk about what marriage looks like beyond the movies and beyond the highlight reels. Communication is a skill, not a personality trait. I used to think that good communication was something either you had or you didn't. If you loved each other enough, it would come naturally. I quickly realized that communication is learned, it's practiced, and sometimes it's awkward. There have been moments when we have misunderstood one another, times when I said the wrong thing or said the right thing the wrong way. Moments when I had to apologize more than once for the same issue. What marriage is teaching me is this. Healthy marriage isn't about never arguing. It's about learning how to repair, how to come back to each other instead of pulling away. Now keep in mind, I am not a marriage expert, okay? We've been doing this for 8 months. So I'm speaking about what I have learned and what is working for us in our home. Take what sits with you and leave the rest. Love language versus love habits, okay? Knowing your partner's love language is important. But love habits are what sustains your marriage. Love habits are something like checking in even when you're tired. Choosing to be patient rather than being defensive. Doing small things consistently, not just doing the big gestures. Love isn't just something you feel, it's something you practice. And there are days when that practice feels natural, and days it feels like a conscious choice. But both count. Now, before I say this, I am a girl's girl. I love any good rom-com movie. I love the romantic movies. I can watch Hallmark all day long. But let's talk about the myth that it has to be constant harmony in a marriage. It teaches us that if it's meant to be, it should be easy. Real life, however, has taught me different. Harmony isn't consistent, it's created. There are times when the connection feels effortless and times where it has to take your intention. You have to make it intentional. Marriage isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about staying committed to connection even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels like you can't stand the person that you're looking at, and even when it requires humility. And in those moments, I've learned to pause and ask, am I willing to stay present here with my spouse, with myself, and with God? Because real marriage doesn't promise perfection, it's invited growth. If you're married or preparing for marriage, here are 3 simple things that have helped me. Weekly check-ins. Set aside intentional time to ask, how are you really doing? What do you need from me this week? Is there anything we need to talk about? No fixing, no defending, just listening. And here comes my personal favorite, okay? Not every moment needs words. Sit together without distractions. No phones, no agenda, just presence. Sometimes intimacy grows in the quiet. Gratitude swaps. This one seems simple, but it's powerful. Take turns sharing one thing you appreciate about each other, daily or weekly. Gratitude softens hearts and shifts perspectives. And for me, it has also become a quiet prayer. Thanking God for the person beside me, even on the hard days. You don't need grand gestures to build intimacy. You need consistency. You need humility. You need willingness. And most of all, you need grace for your partner and for yourself. After everything I've shared, I didn't want this episode to be just from my perspective because marriage isn't just one voice, it's two people growing in real time. So, joining us now is my handsome husband, Mario. He's here to share what marriage has been teaching him and what it's revealed about us. What's one small thing I do that makes you feel loved that I might not even realize matters?
Hmm. For me, I think it would have to be every morning before I go to work, you make it your business to say, have a good day and I love you. I feel like for me, that sends me out into a world that may not be fully accepted of me because of who I am, but you make sure to do that, and in doing so, it instills a certain confidence in me, like I'm ready to tackle the day and I can handle whatever might come my way.
You're right. I do that because, like you said, you go out into a society that might not accept you for who you are. And not many people talk about the struggles, as you can say, that a black man or a man in America carries whenever they walk out of their front door. So I do that intentionally so you know that when you leave out of the house that you're wrapped and you're covered in love. So you know that no matter whatever comes your way throughout the day, that I'm in your corner no matter what. Okay. Question number 2. If you had to describe our marriage in 3 words right now, what would they be and why?
Okay, I can do this. This doesn't seem like a hard task at all. Um, the first word I would use would be unconventional. I say unconventional because we don't behave like a typical married couple. You know what I'm saying? Like we we may not have the longevity of some, marriages, but we make what works for us work for us. And people from the outside in are looking at it, and the one thing I keep hearing the most of is wait till you get past the honeymoon phase, then you'll really see about the work you got to put in. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm putting work in through the honeymoon phase, like, but it doesn't feel like work when it's something you want to do. For me, it's I get a thrill off of coming home and being with my person. I get a thrill being in conversations with people, and I be like, well, me and my wife just had this conversation the other day. Like having the ability to have inside jokes with you and nobody else get it. Like, I like that. I like that. It to me, the honeymoon phase can be the whole marriage, depending on if the two people want to put the work in. And I feel like for the most part, that's what we do. So, for me, it seems like unconventional would be the good way to start that off. For my second word, I would have goofy. I ain't even about to play with you. Goofy. 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 Like some of the stuff that we do, if we could get a camera and just put it somewhere and record us for 24 hours, we could really go viral off of a lot of the stuff that we do. Like, and I like that. Like, who would not want to spend the rest of their life with a person that they could joke with all the time? You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got to be walking around on eggshells. I don't have to filter anything that I want to say. Like I can speak freely, even if I know it ain't gonna make sense when it come out of my mouth, and it's no judgment. And I appreciate you for that because I know I be flying off the handle with my mouth sometimes. But like goofy definitely has to be in there as one of the three words. So let me see. We got unconventional. We got goofy. I think the third word would be unconditional. Like we've gone through a lot in a short amount of time, but that we have gone through and have overcome did not predicate the amount of love that we show to each other or the amount of love that we give to each other. Like, because I did this, you didn't say, okay, well, I gotta pull some of my love back for you now because you did something I didn't like, or you did something I didn't like, or vice versa, whatever. Like the love has never been predicated upon actions that we didn't necessarily agree with. Like the love is there regardless, and I just think that's a beautiful feeling. I don't understand people when they say they don't experience that, because in my mind it's like, well, did you get married or do you have a business contract? And if you did, you might want to check the fine print and see if you can get out of it. Cause I'm good over here. You feel me? I'm good. I'm good where I'm at. So unconventional, goofy, and unconditional. And then I'm gonna slide goofy in there one more time just cause.
Okay, so I definitely agree with all three of those, especially the goofy. Because, baby, you be waking up on 10. And I don't understand. Like, I have to roll over sometimes and be like, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Like, are you okay?
It don't even be that bad. It don't even be
It
that
do be
bad.
that bad. It don't be that bad for you.
I just feel like there's certain questions that need to be asked as soon as you wake up so you don't forget it.
But we've been together how long? And you know that I am not a morning person.
That don't mean that I can't ask you, do Debras really exist? That does not mean I can't do that. Because a lot of
That's
people want
exactly
to.
what I mean.
That is a serious thing that people want to know about.
Debras do not exist, baby.
Then why did Kevin Hart bring it up?
Because it's Kevin Hart.
I feel like he was on to something.
And as y'all can see, this is the goofy.
And listen.
And I can definitely say the unconditional. Because in the beginning of this relationship, baby, I was work. I was some work. I was unhealed of the unhealed.
I always tell people you the reason why I know God real. Because there's no way
Won't he do it?
He did that. Now he did it. I ain't gonna hold you.
The unconditional, regardless of what happened, whether it was an argument or a misunderstanding, you never stopped pouring love into me. You never once turned your back on me. Heck, there was sometimes you got in the bed after the argument. I'm like, why is he up here next to me?
I mean, because like you gotta look at it like this. Like when you were growing up, you got a whooping, but then your parents still gave you breakfast in the morning. They still, helped you get your clothes on to go to school. Just because you have that moment of, and this wasn't the case with us, I'm just using this as an example, but just because you have a moment of like reprimanding doesn't mean that overpowers the love that's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because we have an argument doesn't mean that it negates everything before or after that. Like you like not even.
I mean, hold on. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But I get that, but for someone that didn't have that in previous relationships, you have to understand that's not how my mind was working.
That's why I tell people you were my greatest project and you were my most successful one.
Really? Your
Yes.
greatest project?
Yeah, yeah. Look, do you know?
Why do you say project though?
Okay, so maybe project isn't the best word to use. So let me style it this way. You were the most you were the closest thing I got to watching a person heal in real time. And for me it was like an inspiration. You know what I'm saying? And I know that might sound weird, but let me try to bring it in without running my mouth too much. Like we always say, we want to be our best healed version before we get with the person that we gonna be with. But sometimes you meet people broken, and I know for me, I used to have this big complex where I could see the potential in a person and work with the potential, even though I knew the person itself wasn't a good fit for me. So we're in this situation now where we're in a relationship and I see so much potential in you, but I know your history. I know what you've gone through. So in that moment, my goal is to introduce you to what you should be accustomed to help you heal or get over what you went through. And even if that would have meant that once you became your healed version of yourself that you did not want to, I guess be with me because I reminded you too much of what you overcame, then I would have been willing to eat that just because of the love that I had or have, I should say, for you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he's so sweet.
My greatest reward.
All right. So number 3. When have you felt the most seen and understood by me in our marriage?
When I'm talking about business, because I don't bounce a lot of my business ideas off of people. You know, so it's like that's my business is personal to me because of how it was birthed, how it was originated. So when I come to you about something concerning my business, like that's a big deal for me. And for you to even if you don't particularly understand the vision of where I'm going, you sit with me while I sit with it. And like for me, that's incredible, you know? Because just because you're married to a person or just because you're in a relationship with a person, the reality that people don't talk about is, they still might be hating on you, Like you might be you might be in a situation where yeah, I'm married to you, but I don't want you to be better than me. I've and I, and I've and I have friends that have dealt with situations like that. So
Yeah.
for you to sit with me during that and even if you don't understand, but try to understand it just so that you can better understand me, like that just to me that shows that means more than you know. It just means a lot.
I mean, yeah, because I don't understand when people be like, well, I'm not interested in what he's interested in, or he's not interested in what I'm interested in. Then what do y'all talk about? What do y'all do? And like for me, when it comes to your business, like you said, I know a place where it came, where it was birthed from. So I'm not just gonna sit there and look at you sideways and not be interested because at the end of the day, that's what we're both trying to do to build generational wealth for our kids' kids to be straight. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, okay, that's nice. So, like I was saying, I want or we need. It's no,
But
I don't see that.
you know why? But you know why certain people do that? Because they're only concerned about the wealth. They're not concerned about the process of how to get there. Some don't even care how you get there. As long as you can be able to get to a point that you can pull out that black car and you can be like, "Hey, go get whatever you want." That's what excites them. A lot of people want to be a part of the success, but not a lot of people want to be a part of the process. They don't want to be a part of the journey. Everybody be willing to celebrate you while you on top, but won't nobody sit with you while you trying to come up with the ideas to at least get your head above water.
Hmm, that's true. Okay. All right, last question. What has marriage revealed about you that you didn't realize before?
What has marriage revealed about me
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't realize before? Don't judge me.
Never do.
Um, I didn't realize that I don't like being vulnerable. Like I don't. I'm used to being the guy that everybody leans on. I'm used to being the guy that if you got a problem, when you bring it to me, it's no longer your problem. I'm I don't like being in a position where, well, let me rephrase that. I didn't like being in a position where I'm vulnerable, where I have to be open and expressive about how something made me feel. Then when I got married, I got to be vulnerable all the time. And not like oh, I can't believe you did, like not like that, but like if in order for us to work, in order for us to be unapologetically in the vows of sick, richer for richer, because we don't do richer for poor over here, all those things, you got to be open and honest. And a lot of times for me, I found out that I was guarded in that. I didn't like feeling open and exposed because I didn't know what would come from that. So that uncertainty because of the vulnerability, that slapped me in the face once we got married. Real talk.
Hmm. Okay. Let me find out we on the same page today.
Today,
Today.
what you saying? We went up there yesterday.
You know what I mean.
I know what you said.
Well, babe, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it, and you.
Oh man, it's my pleasure, man. I'm glad to be up here. It was a beautiful thing.
Now, as I was sitting here listening to him answer those questions, it reminded me that marriage really is a mirror. Not just because our differences, not just because of our frustrations, but of our growth. It's easy to focus on what needs to change in other people. It's harder and braver to ask what's being shaped in you. Marriage has shown me that love isn't about finding someone who completes you. It's about choosing someone who grows with you. Growth is quiet. It's uncomfortable. However, it's always forming something deeper than romance. So here's your quiet question. Where in your relationship are you being invited to grow instead of escape? Pause. Let it sit. No rush. No answer right now. Just sit with it. If marriage feels beautiful right now, I'm celebrating with you. If it feels like it's stretching, you're not failing. Real love isn't constant harmony. It's a consistent commitment. It's learning how to communicate when it's easier to withdraw. It's choosing gratitude when irritation feels louder. It's remembering that growth doesn't mean something is broken. And if you're in a season where things feel fragile, I hope you remember this. You are not behind. You are not alone. You are not the only one learning as you go. Marriage isn't about perfection. It's about presence. And presence with your partner, with yourself, and with God, it's enough for today. Thank you for spending time with me today. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who might need it too. Leave a message on our Facebook page about something that resonated with you from this episode. And remember, you're not finished, you're becoming. And I'll meet you here next time.